Hi folks, Tuhon McGrath here. I wanted to show you a warm-up drill I've been using lately at my seminars. This is a useful drill whether I'm teaching 5-attack subsystem or Seguidas or Contradas or a variety of things. Anything in single stick or sword. It gives you a nice transition through basic footwork concepts, as well as kind of tells me where the students are at physically and mentally and what they're ready for and what they're not ready for. So let's get started. So let's begin by looking at the feet. You're going to go into what I call a basic combat stance. Essentially what you want to do is get your feet about shoulder width apart, parallel to one another, but 45 degrees to the target. So if this light colored board is pointed at the target, my feet are roughly 45 degrees to him. Shoulder width apart, parallel to one another. The easy way to accomplish this angle is to have roughly the center of the rear foot at the toe line of the front foot. Have your knees bent. And what this 45-degree stance does for you is it presents the side of the leg rather than the front of the knee. If you get hit in the kneecap at this angle facing the opponent, it can shatter the kneecap and take you down. If he does kick you with the leg to the side, you're more likely to collapse and have the leg broken. And the feet are shoulder width apart. A wider stance gives you more stability but slows you down. A narrower stance, you're able to move quickly but you lose stability. So to me, a good compromise to start off with is about shoulder width apart, and that's our starting stance. Okay, the first simple drill I like to do is from the combat stance with the feet remaining flat. I like to have them do a simple 1 and 2, diagonal down. And the reason I have them do this without footwork, even though Pekiti-Tirsia is known for its footwork, is I want to check their hips. I want them to not use raising the feet as a crutch. I want them to be able to move fully through a diagonal 1 and 2 with the upper body moving on the pivot of the hips. If the knees are bent, that's not only good practice, but it's an important safety feature. If their legs are locked up and they're trying to twist, then all that torque winds up in the kneecap or the knee tendons or ligaments. If the knees are bent, that helps distribute the torque or the twisting motion, twisting force across the body, and they're more likely to use their hips for the motion. For power, you do want to generate from the hips and then out. You're not striking like a revolving door, everything moving together, right? So let's show that from the side. Knees are bent, shoulder width apart roughly, and striking off a 1 and a 1 and 2. Notice that the stick stays in contact with my trapezius muscle as long as possible before delivery. I'll show you on a heavy bag or a wall in a moment. I'm not striking from the ceiling down, from the sky down. I'm striking in, and this first target here is actually trying to, my teacher say, put a nail in his chest. You're trying to hammer a nail straight into the chest. And that gives you good accuracy because you're going after one small target as opposed to a sword trying to, cut his head off and one arm off diagonally. And focusing on one section, one small point over the heart, better accuracy. So I'll show from the other side, part my back. And what this does for you, what it does for the students also, is it keeps them referencing their body from a next point, meaning they're touching their body for a longer period of time. So remember I said human beings have binocular vision. The base of that triangle is the distance apart of your eyes, not very big. But if you can get the pommel of the stick in the visual field and get an index point of touching your shoulder, touching another point of your body, your brain is going to calculate those distances. Say binocular vision to the target, pommel to the target, trapezius muscle to the target, and that gets you more accuracy. Also notice that, in fact you can see it easier, my elbow and my hand and the tip of the stick all line up on target. Elbow, pommel in hand, shaft, and then tip of the stick all line up on target. I'm not swinging, coming down with the flat of my arm. One, that's a big target, a lot of muscles in there that can get cut and ruin your whole day. Also, better accuracy if the whole arm is accurately on target. So that's your 1 and 2 diagonal from a fixed stance. Okay, the next step is to do 1 and 2 diagonals with simple sidestepping. Simple sidestepping simply means you're pivoting and your spine is basically rotating in place. Where long sidestepping is you're getting off what was the silhouette of your body in a longer sidestep. So if someone were to charge at you, you see this, let's say, box made by the outline of my body. I want to sidestep enough that I'm outside that box. So the next step is simple sidestepping with diagonal 1 and 2. And you notice I'm basically starting off flat to the target. This is a warm-up. So you don't really have to worry about, combat stance as much as normal. What I'm looking for here is that as they sidestep, the head stays on the same level and they're not going up and down. Shortest distance between 2 distant points is a straight line. If their head is doing this, it's going to take longer, less efficient, and it raises your center of gravity, so you can get swept easier. A lot of benefits to staying at the same level. Also visually, binocular vision, you're looking at a target where those 2 lines of your eyes focus crosses. That's how your brain computes distance. If your head is bobbing up and down, your brain has to recalculate distance every time that shifts. So if you can keep your head at the same level, that will give less work for your brain to do while you're calculating distance. So here's another area where you're actually testing the students to see what they can do. If someone has a knee injury, ankle injury, sometimes even back injuries, they may have a hard time moving like this. So I always start the class telling people, only do what you can in the warm-up safely. If you can't do it safely in the warm-up, don't do it, watch. You can learn by watching. So that gives you an idea of who's injured in the class and who's not, what their injuries may be. You want to start the class with that announcement. Please don't get hurt in the warm-up. If you can't do something, don't do it, just watch. What you want to do also with this is, we used to put a piece of newspaper on the floor and sidestep without ripping and making noise in a newspaper. You should be able to do this silently. That means you're not grinding your foot into the floor. It's especially noticeable if you're using, modern rubber soled shoes on concrete. That twist, that torque, has to go somewhere, and it's going to wind up in your knee tendons and ligaments. So if you can do this silently, that means there's no friction. Friction means you can move faster. Also, frictionless movement, let's say, means that you don't have as much torque in your knee tendons and ligaments. All right, now, so from 1 and 2 with simple sidestepping, flat to the target, let's say, I'd now like you to do this. What we're going to do is sidestepping sideways to the target. So now I'm lined up in a combat stance and I'm sidestepping basically squared up as I was before, but to this angle. And I just bring this turn to my left, or if there's a clock face on the floor, counterclockwise, just to the point where my foot lines up in the basic combat stance. And there's my strike, and there's my recovery. Strike and recovery. I don't want to sidestep completely over, obviously, because if your viewpoint is the bad guy, I don't want to turn my back. So all I'm doing is sidestepping to the point where I can reach him. My knee is still to the side facing him. My back is not on, I'm not giving my back to the target, and I'm pivoting that rear leg. I will often do this, I'll show you to the side. I will often do this where this foot remains completely stationary, and I will just move the rear foot in a side step. I've seen a lot of people go and raise that heel. I'm not too fond of that because that tends to put your body over your lead leg. and you're kind of committed to that weight on that lead leg. If you simply turn the foot, you will get that extension you want, but your weight still stays between your legs, and it gives you a better balance, a little safer balance point without overcommitting to all your weight on the lead leg. So try that. Side step. It's basically a pivot with the rear heel to get some extension. And again, I've shown this in a previous video, you get extension just by moving the heel. It's very much like the jab on knife work, where you can jab stationary, you can jab by moving the heel, or you can jab by raising the heel, and you get more extension. That middle position is just raising the heel, probably just turning the heel, and you get the extension that way. So extend, just twist the rear leg back, twist the rear leg and back. And that covers this section. So now let's try a review of the reverse angles on 1 and 2. So a forward 1 for a right-handed person is chambered from the right side, and there's your forward 1, the diagonal downward forehand strike, chambered from the dominant side shoulder. If you're chambered on the non-dominant side, in my case the left-hand side, but you still want to hit to the forehand angle because that's where the opponent is open, then you do a reverse 1. So a reverse 1 comes here. And you notice when you stop at point of contact, you really can't tell where the point of origin was. Could be the right shoulder, could be the left shoulder, right? Same thing on 2. For a right-handed person, the normal, natural point of origin for a backhand strike is the left-hand side, and there's my diagonal 2. If I'm chambered on the right-hand side and the opponent is open for a backhand strike, then I'll give a reverse 2. And again, you cannot tell on impact, is the point of origin the right or left shoulders. Impact point is going to be the same. So let's try this drill. Forward 1, inside vertical, 2. Forward 1, inside vertical, 2. Forward 1, inside vertical, 2, horizontal 2, reverse 2. Right again. Forward 1, inside vertical, horizontal 2, reverse 2. Just to give you some variety of strikes. And you can mix and match these. But again, forward 1, inside vertical, horizontal backhand, reverse 2 would be everything chambered from this side. Then we can go over to the other side. So let's try forward 2, outside vertical, forehand 1, and reverse 1. Just to give you some variety. Here's a quick drill to understand different angles of cutting, subtle differences in your angles of cut. So you have a forward 1, you have a reverse 1, and you have an inside vertical. A forward 2, a reverse 2, and an outside vertical. So 1, reverse 1, inside vertical, 2, reverse 2, outside vertical. So 1, 1, in, 2, 2, out. 1, 1, in, 2, 2, out. Nice quick drill to help you understand subtleties of angle between the forehand and backhand chamber.